Your role is not to die. You should actually defend your country and defend the citizens of your country. When you love your country, you will have selfless service. So our core values actually, in general, are connected in one or another to patriotism. It is okay for us to pursue professional fields and improve our ability to fight, but we must pursue our objective based on the principle of unity and transformation. So the youth have a task to maintain this trajectory.
Hello dear viewers, welcome to this special interview brought to you by the New Times. I'm James Karuhanga, your host, and we are honored to speak with the Rwanda Defence spokesperson, Brig Gen Ronald Rwivanga. As Rwanda marks Patriotism Day on October 1st, we take this opportunity to reflect on the meaning of patriotism through the lens of the RDF, its values, sacrifices, and evolving role both at home and beyond our borders. General, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's begin with how RDF defines patriotism beyond the general love for one's country.
RDF defines patriotism as both love and devotion to country. It's the commitment to the ideals of protecting our national interests and defending our territorial integrity and the pursuit of the ideals of unity and development. So there are specific core principles that are connected to our values. And so when we talk about patriotism, we are also talking about the principles of commitment to duty, respect for others, personal courage in times of need, in terms of war, discipline, and unity, cohesion. All those come together to form that big statement, patriotism.
Oh, those are what we could call the core values.
Core principles.
Oh.
Core principles that shape patriotism. So basically, patriotism is the first value that RDF has on its list. But we also have loyalty, we have selfless service, we have integrity, we have sacrifice. Now, when you look at all those values, they are in one or another connected to patriotism. Because when you love your country, you're ready to sacrifice for it. When you love your country, you'll be loyal to its leaders. When you love your country, you'll have selfless service. So our core values actually, in general, are connected in one or another to patriotism.
How do you measure patriotism? Do you have a way to measure it, if at all? How do you measure it?
There are specific pragmatic actions that a soldier or even an ordinary civilian will show in pursuit of the value of patriotism. One, of course, is serving your country in different capacities. It doesn't have to be in the military alone. Secondly, the ability to defend your country, both with your blood and sometimes even with your own actions. And then lastly, to die for your country. That is the ultimate pragmatic action of showing that you love your country. So as military men, as servicemen, I think the last thing is what we really look at. So this man is pursuing a career in which he's likely to die for his country. But if I may use George Patton's words, our objective is not to die.
Who is George Patton?
George Patton is a famous general, US general in World War II, who stated that your role is not to die for your country, but to ensure that the other damn bastard dies for it. So your role is not to die. You should actually defend your country and defend the citizens of your country. But if in that process you are ready to pay the ultimate price. For instance, there are many acts of heroism that have been demonstrated where you choose as a leader to put yourself in harm's way to protect your entire unit. For instance, when there's a grenade strike and you choose that the grenade goes with you instead of the entire section, that is the ultimate sacrifice that one can give. But like I mentioned, we should not all go to war to die. No, we should go to war to survive. Okay.
Can you share a story or example of maybe an officer or an RDF unit demonstrating exceptional patriotism?
I think I would desist from giving specific examples because in our principles, in our operational practice, we operate as a team. So I don't think there is any special unit that can pretend to have done it alone. So we have the strike force, we have the reserve force, we have the air force, we have the ground forces who operate in unison. You see, for instance, during the 600 here in Kigali, had the 600 been left alone here in this city without being reinforced by Alpha and Bravo in the capture of Kigali, I don't think they would have captured Kigali. So for someone to think that 600 operated alone would be a very big mistake because they were supported, they were told to step out of scent, protect their boundaries, but be reinforced by Alpha, Bravo, and other units that were also, in one way or another, attacking the enemy from different directions. So I think that explains why we do not select one unit or one person.
Nonetheless, though,
Yes.
they were in Kigali surrounded by the enemy from
Absolutely.
all corners.
Absolutely. But had they been left alone, hadn't the commander-in-chief ordered other units to link up with the 600 in order to collectively, like I gave the example of different units working in concert, then 600 would not have successfully managed to contain the depth and the breadth of enemy concentration of fires on them. Okay?
Let's talk about October 1st. It's more than 30 years after. What's October 1st all about anyway? For especially our young generation, you and I understand what it is all about. But speak to your 20-year-old niece, my 20-year-old niece. What is October 1st all about? How different is it from July 4th?
They are very different events. The first and most important aspect about October 1st is that it marked the beginning of the liberation struggle against bad leadership.
What happened exactly?
That the country went through for 30 years. Millions of Rwandans had been dispersed in different parts of the continent, region. Burundi, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, DRC, at the time Zaire. And for the first time, in unison, they all chose to return back home. Actually, not for the first time, because they attempted several times through the famous Nyenzi attacks that occurred in the 60s. But the first successful attempt to hold the ground. Of course, there were some setbacks in the beginning. But it is important for the youth to know that after 30 years of exile, and after several attempts to negotiate with President Habyarimana at the time for the return of bona fide Rwandan citizens. He refused. And so they were left with no choice but to launch a liberation struggle. So October 1st marks the beginning of that liberation struggle. Now, where is it different from
July 4th?
July 4th. July 4th is the end of the liberation struggle and the beginning or the renaissance of a new Rwanda that is based on unity, reconciliation, and the pursuit of collective development goals. Yeah.
How do you interpret the meaning of October 1 beyond its historical date?
Well, it's a day of reflection of the vitality of our unity, of our sense of purpose, our commitment, our resilience as a people. After years of, being refugees in other countries, after years of suffering, we must be honest about it, despite the fact that we were given hospitality in different countries. Wherever we were not considered to be citizens of those countries. So it is very significant in the sense that for the first time we had a sense of identity as Rwandans, collectively as Rwandans, which we didn't have in our respective locations where we were. So it was a major achievement for us to feel that for the first time we can call ourselves Rwandans.
How then do RDF soldiers reflect on October 1 in their units wherever they are?
Well, the first thing that we have to do is to remind people of the journey. It's a reflection of the journey that we went through. Of course, it also reminds us of the sacrifices that different officers and men made in pursuit of the liberation of our country. But what it also does is that it reminds our youth, the young commanders on the ground today, that death is part of life. The struggle continues. There is a price you have to pay to maintain the status quo. Because when you have a major general throwing his ranks to another country and pursuing a struggle, dying on the second day, and others continue. By the way, for your information, after his death, thousands and thousands joined rather than deserted. You see, a few may have lost morale, but it was temporary. Many more came, including our president, who was then in Fort Leavenworth. So I think that is our spirit and resilience that has made us achieve quite a lot since then. So that's the message we pass on to the youth on October 1st.
Talking about sacrifices and memory, how does the RDF ensure that the sacrifices made by, say, the liberation fighters or the fighters of the past are become more meaningful to the new recruits today?
Well, it's related to the previous question in one way or another. When we see individuals like late General Fred and all soldiers who paid the ultimate price to liberate our country, well, the first thing that comes to anybody's mind is if they did that for their country, we should be ready today to do the same in defense of our territorial integrity and national sovereignty when we are faced with attacks from our neighbors or attacks from within, those who are trying to destabilize the country. And then, of course, most importantly, the memory must be kept on by talking to the youth in different forums, in Gando, in Dangamirwa, which I think you have seen us talk about every day. I think 1st October and Heroes Day, as well as Liberation Day, are key dates that we refer to as very important for us to keep the memory going and for us to keep the morale. And I always stress in most of these forums that it is the cause that wins wars, and not the equipment, and not the level of training, not the level of development, not anything, more than the cause for which you're fighting. You see? It's very important for us to stress that, because we faced an enemy that was operating with bad leadership, intolerable. They did not tolerate a section of the community. And we succeeded, despite the fact that they were immensely, they tripled our numbers. They were immensely resourced by different countries. I think Western countries that were supporting them, but we still triumphed because we had a cause. So that's the message you drive home.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35 years ago, the struggle was different. It was about getting the country, liberating the country. The country is liberated, but the youth today, they have a different struggle, right? Stabilization, or making sure that what we have is not tampered with in the future, right?
Absolutely.
And your main, most important message, especially to the youth today, you said a lot, but precisely what would you tell them now?
Well, naturally, I personally believe that the struggle hasn't changed much, in the sense that when you have a country, when you struggle for your country, there are basic principles that you operate with. Unity. In order to maintain your country, you will also maintain unity and cohesion. So the principles will remain, except for different goals. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and the struggle against bad leadership, toxic bad leadership, continues. At the time we were fighting against an entrenched system. Today we are fighting against an ideology that is outside, that is trying to penetrate. So the struggle is basically the same. The difference is that we are now in charge, and we are much stronger and much more united in pursuit of our objectives. So ultimately, we are continuing with the same agenda, which is to maintain cohesion, national transformation, which are the core values that led us to pursue this struggle in the first place.
Given all this bad history or turmoil in the past, how then do you, how are you helping build unity? How do you approach this unity building in the nation, in the country?
We have to be deliberate
How?
in our messaging. We have to be deliberate, and we have been doing that. We have been emphasizing the necessity of national unity through different forums, but we have also fought against any form of sectarianism. You remember the time when a group of people organized themselves in clans and wanted to put up a king. I think it was Abakono. That's a live example of how we fight against any form of sectarianism, any form of ethnicism, and any form of extremism. So whether religious or otherwise, or clan-based, we fight against all those processes. And many, a successful country, have done the same. I don't want to refer to nations in comparison, but I can tell you what has built the state of China, for instance, today, is their unity, their collective, performance. But even the US, you see, the fact that they cannot, attack you for your race, We have had presidents who are black. The same, I think, with the UK and other countries. So today we shouldn't be looking at race. We shouldn't look at ethnic origins. We shouldn't look at religious backgrounds. We should look at competent individuals ready to build the country. Period. And the moment we maintain that, we are headed for a trajectory of continuous transformation.
What role do the Liberation War narratives play in crafting the RDF ethos?
Oh, it is very fundamental. Very fundamental. The 1994 Liberation War was a 4-year war where unity triumphed over divisionism, where tolerance and forgiveness triumphed over genocide ideology, where good and principled leadership that is based on unity and reconciliation triumphed over bad, toxic, divisive leadership. So that's the narrative that is very critical in maintaining the status quo. Because these are facts. These are not speculations. These are not concoctions. These are real issues that occurred in this country. So the narrative is as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. More than 30 years later, or even you didn't have to take 30 years, the RDF has a strong footprint beyond the country's borders.
Absolutely.
How does this role in the bilateral missions, the international UN peacekeeping missions, how does it reflect your understanding of patriotism?
That's a very good question. First of all, it all starts from one basic principle that we have adopted from the very end of genocide, and the beginning of development process, the protection of civilians being central in our operating principles. The fact that we witnessed the slaughter, the mass slaughter of over 1 million people, that history, that memory, I think it has an impact on our mind. It has really built our psyche. And we chose the path of protecting civilians wherever we are called upon. And this is also a Pan-African act, one in which we believe that we can find African solutions to African problems. So when we choose to support African countries to fight against groups that attempt to kill civilians, their own civilians, for instance, what we did in Central African Republic and Mozambique, where we halted the killings of innocent civilians by armed groups, I think we are more morally competent, or should I say driven by the historic experience that we went through, you see? So sometimes people ask, what is in it for us, financially or otherwise? As if we are mercenary like those ones who were in the DRC. No, I think they should understand that our psyche, our moral standing has been built by years of experience, you see? So our pursuit of that objective is based on our history and our understanding of the dangers of not protecting civilians whenever they are under attack. So that's what drives us. The other is national pride. Of course, I will not hesitate to say that we are the largest peacekeeping contingent in Africa and the second in the world. And this also comes from the fact that they respect the way we operate. The fact that we do not have divisive leadership, we don't have toxic leadership, and our soldiers are disciplined. This comes from top leadership which inculcates a culture of zero tolerance to corruption and indiscipline. It is not by accident that our country has the largest peacekeeping contingent. No, it's not by accident. Or it's not a desire by those who give us responsibilities to just, give the roles to us. No, it comes out of years of competent actions in the field. But also, the fact that even individual countries like Central African Republic and Mozambique can request for our support shows that we also have performed quite well in the field. We have demonstrated the capacity to perform these roles, and therefore, national pride is also part of it.
Do Rwandan soldiers take the foreign missions as an act of patriotism for Rwanda, or a broader commitment to global peace?
It's a bit of both. Of course, there is the national pride that comes with it. And it's important for us to maintain our standards, our professional ethos abroad. So, on one hand, that is an ultimate objective that we must have at all times. The other is the humanitarian and moral conviction. Okay? We pursue these international missions based on our humanitarian and moral conviction that we need to protect civilians whenever we are called upon. So it's a bit of both. Yeah.
Let's talk about the lessons learned from the mistakes made in the past. What have you learned that the leadership is determined to, or keen mistakes that you are keen not to repeat?
The biggest mistake that a leader, or leadership for that matter, will make is to be divisive. I think that's one of the things we have learned. The pursuit of a united effort in both protecting people's lives, respecting people's lives, human rights, but as well as pursuing national development goals, are all hinged on a united nation. I have not seen any nation in the world that has developed through divisive politics. None.
Sure.
So I think that's the biggest lesson that I have learned in my career, and I believe in many of my service mates have learned. Unity is very key. Respect for humanity is key. And zero tolerance to corruption. I believe personally that corruption is the biggest cancer affecting systems, political systems globally. The moment you remove that from a political system, zero tolerance to corruption. We have seen the Chinese operate with principles against corruption, and you see where the country is heading. From 1960 to date, this is the fastest growing country in the world, because of those principles against corruption. You see? And I think we have also, we adopted many of those principles, and it has really paid off. I don't like to compare, but let's just look at where these principles have failed and see how they perform. You see? Wherever there is disunity.
You don't want to mention names.
No, I always avoid. But I know even our very good neighbors have had issues with corruption. So it's there for everybody to see. And I think what our president has done is fight against those two very bad issues: disunity and corruption. Those are the key issues. They are the two number one failures of any nation.
No doubt.
The two main failures.
In your perspective, the RDF perspective, what struggles do you look at terms of securities, regional peace? And then
Two major struggles.
Which ones?
The first one is the struggle against genocide ideology. It is in the region and it is being propped up by Western powers, some of which we, I think, made a very serious statement about by expelling them. That divisiveness, genocide ideology, we don't tolerate that. So at least that's one of the struggles we're fighting against. The second, of course, is our big neighbor, whose agenda is to eliminate anybody, which is also related to, of course, extremism, eliminating anybody who speaks our dialect. You see? One, it is going to create a refugee crisis, because when you say you are targeting anybody speaking the language, despite the fact that in 1884 and 85, some people found themselves across the border in Burundi, in DRC, in Tanzania, and Uganda. You know the Bafumbira. If Uganda was to expel all Bafumbira, we would have a refugee crisis in our small country. Look how small our Rwanda is. So that's a major security issue for us. I know we can accommodate, we have said it before, we can accommodate many people, and we even asked the United Kingdom to give us some refugees. So it's not a question of space, but it's a question of principles. Why would you attempt to eliminate a group of people simply because of language? And that's the divisive politics that I told you that leads to the collapse of systems. The DRC is where it is because they failed to manage that simple problem. Yet they have enough geographical space. It is not that they are short of space, you see, but they are short of ideas. They are short of political ideology, but they are not short of geographical space. Okay? So I think those are the key issues that we are going to be dealing with in the near future.
How are you adapting the RDF's patriotic values to meet the needs of a changing, never-changing Rwanda and the world, actually?
I think our values are going to be continuously adopted.
The world is changing, Rwanda is changing.
Sure. Our values of patriotism, loyalty, selfless service, I think those values and our core principles, by the way, which I outlined earlier, which are respect for others, personal courage, bravery, discipline, unity. I think all those work continuously. There is no time frame for which they should be adopted and left. I believe we shall operate with those principles and values over eternity, because they are the reasons why we are where we are. We have succeeded because of those principles and the values that we espouse as a defense force. Yeah, so I think there is no limit to how much we can do with our values and how far we can, espouse them.
The values
both locally and internationally. Yeah.
The values don't change. You don't envision the next generation of Rwandan soldiers seeing.
I don't see, for instance, Rwanda adopting a less patriotic stand, a less loyal stand. I don't see us becoming less, have less selflessness. I don't see us pursuing a career that has no unity or discipline. So these are continuous principles. I don't see anything that can be added. Integrity is embedded. Respect for humanity is embedded in those wider values. You see? So the only thing we can do is to attach more principles to the values that we espouse.
Your parting shot?
Well, the only piece of advice I would give to our youth is that it is a journey that we have pursued over a period of, 4 years from 1990 to 94 and 31 years in the post-liberation, a journey in which we have established a stable nation, a nation that is today renowned for unity, reconciliation, and national transformation. Nothing should change, especially in regard to those three aspects. We should seek to have a better military that is technologically proficient, but one which should never forget our history. It is okay for us to pursue professional fields and improve our ability to fight, but we must pursue our objective based on the principle of unity and transformation. So the youth have a task to maintain this trajectory. I thank you very much.
Is it an easy task?
No, it isn't. Nothing comes easy.
They should not expect easy things.
They should not expect easy things. Of course, we already have challenges across the border where, in pursuit of our unity, someone else is trying to divide us. So it will not be an easy journey. We must be ready to fight. And as they say, the struggle continues.
General, thank you very much for your time, your insights, and the perspectives you've shared with us today.
Thank you very much, James.
As Rwanda continues to reflect on its journey, your thoughts on patriotism, unity, and service are timely and inspiring.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. This has been a special conversation with the Rwanda Defence spokesperson, Brigadier General Ronald Rwivanga, brought to you by the New Times. Till next time, stay informed, stay inspired.